One of the great opportunities of this program was to rethink and reconsider undergraduate science education, particularly asking questions about what has traditionally been taught that we might now want to take out of a curriculum, perhaps to replace it with more contemporary science, and even more urgent in this particular day and age, how do we get students to stop visualizing science as chemistry, physics, biology, math, computer science, and think of them holistically as joined together.
We had to learn to see science in a different way, which previously in high school we learned everything separately. There was no integration, and then all of a sudden we had to, so in physics class we'd do physics problems based on the cell, or in chemistry we'd learn about the way that chemists thought of a certain principle, and then the next day in the physics class, we'd learn about how physics thought about the same principle, but it was still the same principle.
Well, the center itself is only a structure, but the actual vision of it was, especially in this period of the early part of NYU Abu Dhabi, was to generate a place where we could jumpstart all of the research for science and engineering.
What's it like to go into a lab and do science? And so the minute that question emerges, you start directing them toward faculty who they've indicated might be doing work that they'd like.
Once I took my first neuroscience class, I was so blown away by everything, like the way that the neurons work, based on very simple chemical and physical principles, just sending the message, and that integrated creates such a complex behavior that humans display every single day. So that's kind of what really drew me to this specialization and looking into the brain.
One of the things that's very exciting, of course, in the history of an institution like ours, is that we can do everything from the start together, so that we don't have to do any destruction of any already existing programs to try to build something new, but in fact, all we have to concern ourselves with is how do we build something for the future.
At the CSE, we have a variety of equipment that's available here for use by all of the faculty, and it's a fantastic enterprise because it does lead to collaboration between people, because we're sharing these core pieces of equipment, so you end up interacting in areas that you never thought you would.
While growing up, there was not much universities, and now there is a lot of universities, and now we find this research-oriented universities, which is really good for people to feel this research atmosphere or community, and it's really amazing, I would think. Probably 10 years ago, I would never think that I would find a chance here in UAE or Abu Dhabi.
Core technology platform is the set of equipment, high-end equipment, support equipment like the CNC and the 3D printers, and also the professional staff, PhD level technician who would help the researcher to do their research. So all of these together, if we bundle them, we call them the core technology platforms.
We group machines together in an area that supports research. Now, it doesn't mean that a researcher has a core technology platform for their specific discipline. What it means is, whatever discipline they're working in our core technology platforms, there are probably multiple groupings of machines that you need to facilitate your research.
Our own undergraduate student body is engaged in the very research alongside those faculty with that state-of-the-art equipment.
One of the advantages is to have these things available so that you can go and play with them and realize that working on an electron microscope or working on a piece of equipment like a genome analyzer is in fact not that hard, and it's not to be, certainly not to be feared.
It isn't about science, and it's not about art. It's about fusing them both together because there's more overlap than you realize. And again, when we think about the labs for this, we need to think not science labs, but more project time, and getting groups of students together from different disciplines and having them attack a problem using the own tools of their disciplines, and others will learn from each other that way.
Everybody, it's not just for science majors, is get involved in research. It's a lot of fun, you learn a lot, even if it's not in your future, it's a very valuable experience, and don't be scared. Research is not scary, it's just commitment, it's not scary.
I just get so excited to learn about it, and it's this enthusiasm that drives me to keep studying, it.
If we become a real powerhouse in research in a different part of the world, can we move the light in a different direction and start things that perhaps Europeans or Americans would not really start, and there'd be some totally new thing that we could do?
Our student body is from over 100 countries from around the world. They speak over 100 distinct languages. And that global effort makes this, you won't find this anywhere else that I can think of.